Okay, so this is a video for those of you who struggled a little bit with yesterday's Nearpod about similes and metaphors. I am recording my screen, and this video is going to describe it, and I'll pause it every now and then to explain a little bit further and to clarify some things. So let's go ahead and watch this video.
At Grammar Songs by Melissa. What are similes and metaphors? More importantly, how can understanding similes and metaphors help me when I read, speak, listen, and write? Let's get started. Similes and metaphors are both types of figurative language that compare two subjects by highlighting their qualities. What does that mean? I don't understand. It does sound confusing, so let me explain. Similes and metaphors are alike in many ways. The difference is that similes use the words like or as to compare by showing how two subjects are alike. Metaphors do not use like or as when comparing. They simply state that one thing is another thing. The word simile comes from the Latin word similis, meaning similar.
And so this part right here is being explained. Don't worry about this. This is just a little background information. You do not have to know this. This is in no way important. I just want us to focus on the description of simile and metaphor and the examples that are given.
Or like. So similes show how two things are alike. The word metaphor is a combination of the Greek word meta, meaning beyond, and the Greek word for, meaning carrying. So to understand a metaphor, you must carry its meaning beyond the words you see. This is why both similes and metaphors are considered forms of figurative language. The words in a simile or metaphor cannot be understood literally or exactly. Literally? Exactly? Let me show you. Here is an example of a simile. She was as angry as a rattlesnake ready to strike. The girl is being compared to a rattlesnake. The word as is the clue that lets the reader know this is a simile. The quality being compared is their anger.
So basically, she was as angry as a rattlesnake ready to strike. This is giving an example visually to the reader. She was angry. She wasn't just a little bit angry. She was very angry, similar to a rattlesnake ready to strike. So you give a visual to the reader so it brings the writing to life a little bit more. It lets the reader know just how angry she was. She wasn't a little bit angry. She was really angry, kind of like a rattlesnake ready to strike. Close your eyes and try to imagine a rattlesnake, as horrific as that scene is. I hate snakes, hate them. But as horrific as that seems, close your eyes, picture a rattlesnake striking at its prey. Okay, we've all seen, hopefully, National Geographic or something online, seen snakes strike. Now, I want you to now picture the girl being very angry. So an example of this would be a girl being angry at her brother or sister and snapping at them and saying, "Oh, leave my room, I hate you," or she's striking at her brother and sister. Her anger is a strike. So it is being compared. So the girl is being compared to an angry rattlesnake. So it gives a visual to that girl. She was as angry as a rattlesnake.
But since a girl is not exactly or literally a rattlesnake, the author is using figurative language to express the quality being shared, their anger. The girl was an angry rattlesnake ready to strike would be an example of a metaphor. Just as in a simile, the girl is being compared to a rattlesnake. The quality being compared again is anger. But since the words like or as are not used, and the author is saying one thing is or was another, the girl was an angry rattlesnake, we can clearly see that this is not a simile but a metaphor.
And so I'll go back real quick. That seems, well, then why not just call it a simile? Why a metaphor? Why are we, if it's the same thing, just not using like or as, what does it matter? Well, it's just the way that it comes across. It's a little bit more direct than a simile. A simile will be something like, she was like a this, or as angry as a that. But a metaphor is saying she was this. She is an angry rattlesnake ready to strike. So it's a little bit more aggressive in the sentence. It shows more of a direct connection to the object that's being compared. So it does the same thing. Metaphors and similes do the same exact thing. They compare two different objects together, and but they do not use similar wording. So whenever you see like or as, and it's being two things are being compared to one another, that is a simile. Whenever you see two objects being compared to one another, saying it was this or it is this, then that is a metaphor.
We see that this is not a simile, but a metaphor. So similes and metaphors are both examples of figurative language because the subjects or objects aren't literally the same, but their qualities are similar when you compare them. Yes, the girl showed anger and the snake showed anger, but a girl isn't really a snake, and a snake isn't really a human girl. We use similes and metaphors every day when we speak without even thinking about it. You are an angel. This muffin is as hard as a brick. Of course, the waitress isn't really an angel. The man is using a metaphor to compare her to an angel because of her quality, her kindness. And the muffin isn't really a brick. The lady is using a simile to compare the muffin to a brick based on its similar quality, its hardness. Yikes. May we practice now? Absolutely. First, let's analyze the words to see if the sentence is a simile or a metaphor. Remember, a simile compares two things using the words like or as. A metaphor does not use the words like or as to compare. It simply states that one thing is another. Then let's note the quality being compared. We want to understand how the two things being compared are similar. And finally, let's discuss why an author or speaker may choose to use the simile or metaphor. How does it improve or enhance the message being sent to the listener or reader? Here we go. His singing is music to her ears.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I'm going to back that up a little bit so the hand doesn't get in the way. Hold on.
We need to decide if this is a simile or a metaphor.
Okay, so what is it? Is this a simile or a metaphor? I'm going to give you about a minute to think. His singing is music to her ears. Okay, if you were to say metaphor, you are correct. This is a metaphor because it is not using the words like or as. You don't see any word like or as in here. And it's comparing two different things. So it's comparing singing to music. So it's saying that his singing is music to her ears, basically saying that he's a really good singer. It's beautiful. It's music to her ears. She's happy when she hears it because music typically evokes happiness. So let's continue.
Similes include the words like or as. Do you think this is a simile or a metaphor? Well, since the author doesn't use like or as and says one thing is or was another thing, his singing is music, this sentence would be a metaphor. Next, we need to note the quality being compared. Which two subjects is the author comparing in this metaphor? Well, the author is comparing his singing to music. So both his singing and music have a melodic quality. So why would the author use?
So when she says it's a melodic quality, melodic just means it's harmonious. It sounds like good music. It has that rhythm that music has. So that's the similar quality. So his singing shares a quality to music that you would hear on a radio. It's really good singing.
Use this metaphor. How is the message enhanced? Well, without this metaphor, the author could simply write, he sings well, or she likes his singing. Using a metaphor encourages the reader to use his or her imagination. Using a metaphor paints a more vivid picture for the reader.
So, right, instead of saying, oh, he's a really good singer, she's a really good singer, you would say the singer, his singing is music to her ears. So you give a visual, you give a comparison. Wow, it's not just any type of singing like a karaoke singing. I know I'm pretty bad at that. but it's like music from the radio.
Let's practice again. The sunlight sparkled like a diamond upon the water. First, we need to analyze the words to see if this is a simile or a metaphor.
Okay, so the sunlight sparkled like a diamond upon the water. So how do we know this is a simile or metaphor? We have to ask the question, okay, what are the two things being compared here? All right, so we have sunlight. They talk about sunlight in the first part of the sentence. The sunlight sparkled like a diamond on the water. Okay, so it looks like they're comparing sunlight to a diamond on the water. So what is a diamond? A diamond is sparkly. A diamond is vivid. A diamond is bright. So wow, if I close my eyes and I picture a diamond ring or a big diamond, I see clearness, I see sparkles, I see maybe different colors when you move it in the light a little bit. It shines very brightly. Wow, now I get a better image as to how that sunlight was actually sparkling. It wasn't just any normal sunlight sparkling. It was like a diamond. So now I know a little bit more about what that sunlight looked like. It sparkled like a diamond. And yes, this is a simile. We know that it's comparing two different things using the words like or as. So it's using like as that connector to show the comparison between the sunlight and the diamond.
Remember, similes include the words like or as. Do you think this is a simile or a metaphor? Well, since the author uses the word like, the sunlight sparkled like a diamond, this sentence would have to be a simile. Next, we need to note the quality being compared. Which two subjects is the author comparing in this simile? Well, the author is comparing the sunlight to a diamond. Both the sunlight and a diamond have the quality of sparkling. So why would the author use this simile? How is the message enhanced? Well, without this simile, the author could simply write, the sunlight sparkled, or the sun was bright. Using a simile encourages the reader to envision the quality of the sun. By comparing the sun to a diamond, the author stimulates imagination, painting a more vivid picture for the reader. So I can recognize similes and metaphors when I listen and read, and I understand that they are both forms of figurative language. And I can use them when I speak and write to paint a more vivid picture for my listener or reader. Exactly. Congratulations! You've earned a first place trophy for your understanding of similes and metaphors. Thank you for joining me at Grammar Songs by Melissa.
Okay, so it's a little cheesy, but you get the point. So again, similes and metaphors, their job is to give a visual in your writing, is to paint the picture, paint an image. So it helps your reader imagine a little bit more when they're reading your words. And it's going to come in handy when you write your own poetry. You're going to be able to show in your writing. So rather than just telling me his eyes were really pretty or her eyes were really pretty, well, now you get to show me in your writing. Well, what do her eyes look like? Her eyes were as blue as the ocean. Her eyes were as sparkly as a diamond. So again, it gives you more of an image, and that's what good writing is. Good writing is being able to paint an image for your readers.